Welcome to Tea Chronicles, where culture inspires conversation and conversation creates connection. The kettle is on. Let's sip, listen, and connect. There is no place, I tell you, no place like home. Joining me today in studio are some interesting guests. I'm going to start with our boomer, teacher Patsy Adams, a poet, spoken word artist, media personality, and my former grade 5 teacher. And representing Gen X, we have teacher Rita Celestine Carty, poet and award writer, and my sixth form teacher as well. And representing Gen Y, my generation, millennials, is Vanessa Croft, master's degree in linguistics and research on Anguillan dialect. She's also a teacher and a former debater, and we were on the same debate team. So, I already started spilling some tea, but the tea of the day, the bush tea of the day, is a blend of lemongrass, bay leaf, lime, and what am I missing? Oh, soursop. So, let's pour some tea. Vanessa, do the honors. Oh, that's nice and hot. Now that we all have our tea, I want to get straight into the conversation, actually. Today's topic is Anguillan identity, dialect, and storytelling. So we have the perfect cast here to discuss this topic. And my first question, and I want to throw this out to Teacher Patsy. I'm putting you on the spot. When you hear the phrase Anguillan identity, what is the first thing that comes to mind? And do you feel you fit this mold?
Yes, I do. What comes to mind, Anguillan identity, we are known for our language, our dialect. We are known for that. We are called the Rock. That's, whenever you hear the word the Rock, that's Anguilla. And we are known for our goats. Yes. Yes, because we have a lot of goats. I think that's it.
Anybody want to jump in?
Yeah, I would say. Oh, I was gonna say also salt picking.
Yeah.
That's a big part of the Anguillan identity, and boat racing.
Yeah.
Because that's also something that we make our boats here still, and that's something that many islands that used to, they don't anymore. So that's a big part of the Anguillan identity as well.
I would agree with everything that's said, and I would also think that we have to think of it as something that's evolving, because we have our traditions, but then we have our evolving and emerging cultures as well. So I would include all of that in being Anguillan, and I would add the trait of resilience, because we keep going no matter what.
Okay.
I think a big part of our identity is our competitiveness. You talk about boat racing. We literally started that sport, racing each other back home.
Right.
But I'm saying each other like I was around. We turned everything into a competition. Primary school sports day, everything is like deeply competitive, and I think that's a big part of what it means to be Anguillan.
Something that is fully Anguillan is roast corn. When the corn season is in, you can see Anguillans everywhere, no matter from the chief minister to the other man on the street, he's going for his roast corn. And then Jacks, that's something that is fully Anguillan. Everybody goes for Jacks.
Okay, so now I know that my Anguillan card is safe. I got some sham at the Welch's Festival the other day.
Okay.
Ooh, I felt like I was deep in my Anguilla bag. Okay, so now that reference is not an Anguillan reference.
Yeah.
But sham is that's my thing.
Fully Anguillan.
Right.
Yes.
And as
But
you
I
say,
barely see it anymore.
right.
You have
When
to
I
go
was
where
a
it's
kid,
best for them.
That's the only place I see it.
Yeah.
When I was a child, I feel like you could get sham.
Mhm.
They sold it outside the school.
Yeah, in the school.
Right. So that's something that I feel maybe somebody
It's
could
being lost,
hopefully
yes.
someone's listening and they decide they're gonna
Something
Take
that is
back
fully Anguillan too is Mobby. Mobby bark.
Okay, so I lost my card.
I don't really like Mobby.
I don't like
either.
it either.
I don't
No,
like Mobby.
no, but yeah, but the older folk, we love Mobby.
Mhm.
Yeah, and the trees are very prevalent in the
Do
Farrington.
we love Mobby more than Sorrel, you would say?
Oh, sorrel is not Anguillan.
Right.
Okay.
That's
Sorrel
more
is
Kittitian
Kittitian.
and Jamaican.
Okay, so it's
Yeah.
we Mobby.
Mobby,
I
yes.
just need to know.
Mhm.
So I could be
It's an
rejecting
acquired
Sorrel.
taste. It's an acquired taste, but it's good. It's good.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right.
I wanted to pick up on the sham reference because, as you say this word sham, I'm sure lots of people listening to us will have no clue what we're talking about if they haven't experienced the product itself. So that brings us to our language, right? Because there are many words that are uniquely Anguillan, and sham might be.
It might be
just
one.
very
It might
be
be have
one
a
of
hard
those.
anybody
Sham
else
has
talk
a
about sham.
completely different dictionary meaning.
Tell us what sham is, teach.
Sham is roasted corn,
Mm-hmm.
dry corn, of course. You shell the grains off the dry corn and you roast it in a pot. We used to do it sometimes with sand.
Popcorn.
Yeah, no, not popcorn. No. The grains are roasted. When I was a girl, my grandmother used to do it in sand. To know how she got the grains from the sand, I'm not too sure. But then she ground it. We had a handmade coffee
Was
mill.
that safe to eat? I mean, I'm still alive, but
Well, yes,
They must have sifted it out and
I
then
think so.
ground it
And
out.
I don't remember.
She's not
No,
sure.
but I can't imagine that she would have
Around.
ground it with the sand.
No, of course not. No.
Okay.
But they were parched grains, not popcorn.
Yes,
Parched corn.
And they would
then-
add sugar, no?
Yes.
We
And
add
then-
sugar every day.
and you grind it with sugar, yeah. Somebody brought some from me from Welch's the other day, and it was ground very, very fine. But in my day, it was not so fine. It was more like brown sugar grains.
Ours was kind of fine.
Yeah, I didn't like
used
it
to
so
choke
fine.
regularly.
Right.
So
Okay.
I have another question, and teacher, I think this one might be good for you. Is identity more than language or dialect, or is language at the heart of identity?
I think language is a component of identity, but it's not. It can't encompass the whole because you would have your clothes, you would have your
Big architecture.
foods, you would have your architecture, you just have the way how you interact with the world. So language is definitely an important component because then language is the one that's portable. You take it wherever you go,
Yes.
right? So when you are elsewhere or somebody else comes here, the language is the identifier, but not the only component of identity.
Yes.
I'd like to get your take on this, though, Vanessa.
Yes.
The identity part, because I've known you from
When I
school
came,
days.
yeah.
And so you don't always use our dialect, right?
Right. So,
Because your mother's American.
yeah, my mother is American. I lived in America until I moved to Anguilla when I was 13. So I do feel that the baseline of my linguistic variation would have been set. In fact, that's actually the key point in your development of language when your whatever dialectal variation you're speaking of whatever language you're learning, it's set at that point. And so anything after that, you'll probably maintain that accent or language variation. Some people are more susceptible to assimilation
Right.
than others. And that's when you'll find people, a few classmates have moved to England, and when they come back, you can hear, distinct undertones of the British accent when they're talking to you. For me, I don't know if it was I don't know if it was a subconscious thing that I was holding on to as an identifier of
Where you were.
Right, where I was.
So in terms of your Anguillan identity,
Right.
have you ever struggled with that? I'm spilling all the tea.
Spilling
Sorry.
She's spilling the
Spilling the
tea.
tea. Vanessa, you spill the tea, please.
Can we get some napkins?
All the good tea.
Have I struggled with that? I would say that I think other people struggle with that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't struggle with that.
Right.
And that is something that I think is interesting to me. I have been in Anguilla now living longer than I lived in the United States. And I still encounter people that do not consider me Anguillan. I do not consider myself not Anguillan.
Right.
And that's the part where I think that language is the first indicator of
It
what
is.
culture you belong to. So
It
the
is.
minute I open my mouth,
Mm-hmm.
people will sense an otherness.
Yes.
But I think in Anguilla, we're a very special island where we have a lot of different people from different places around the Caribbean, around the world. And I think that sometimes there are people that are Anguillan. Maybe they open their mouth, they don't sound Anguillan, but they are Anguillan. They've been here longer than me. And so I don't struggle with my Anguillianness, but I do think that sometimes other people are a bit affronted by it.
I understand.
I think that
I
one
want
of the
to add something too,
first.
because I want to
Okay.
help out Vanessa by saying that her Anguillianness is very firm, and I think she has a strong appreciation even of language as
Definitely
an
language.
identifier.
Mhm.
And I can talk about her poetry and her very last poem. It's all about language.
It is.
Ends with
Actually, it
that's
is.
very important greeting that we must have as
Yes.
Anguillians, because we didn't mention that, but
Yeah.
say good morning,
Right.
that's Anguillians. And,
And
it actually ends with good morning.
Right.
And you can hear it from the page. So I know that her
Thank you.
Anguillianness is firm.
I do think maybe that the differences in the language were the first thing that I noticed when I came here as a girl. I remember being in class and there were just different words that were used for items that I was not familiar with. And it was something that I struggled with. And I think that that is one of the reasons why the language variation in Anguilla is so important to me. I studied it for my master's, for my thesis. And it's also important to me because I felt that people don't appreciate it the way they should here. They do not appreciate that it is a special, distinct variation of the English language that is just for Anguillians and it's different from other places and that it should be held in a high regard.
But
Coming
what
up,
but
I
what I'm
always we used to say we don't have an accent.
But no one thinks they have an accent.
Right.
That's correct.
No one thinks they have an
But
accent.
I think the first indicator of where a person is from is their speech.
Absolutely.
You can hear that's a Trinidadian,
Right.
that's a Kittitian, that's an Anguillan, that's a Bajan. It's your accent
Right.
identifies you. But do you speak Anguillan? Do you
Yeah.
can you speak
Absolutely.
Anguillan? Gwilly?
Yes.
Not really. That's what we call it.
Yes, right. So I want to talk about
Do you
Gwilly,
speak
because
Gwilly?
we should
Do you
give the
switch to
name.
Anguillan dialect like me sometimes?
I do sometimes depending on the context of where I am
Yeah.
or what specific thing I'm getting across.
Okay,
maybe.
okay.
But I wouldn't say that it's my default way of speaking, but it is definitely,
You can.
absolutely.
Okay.
She could code switch. That's what we
Okay.
call
Yeah.
it.
Okay.
It
All
is
right.
code
Right.
switch.
Mhm.
So I have a question, another question. I don't know, anybody can take this. Can culture survive if the language that carries it begins to disappear?
Culture, just like language, is ever evolving, just like I was saying before. So nothing disappears, it just morphs. That's what I would say.
Yeah.
Right? And of course, you would have the references if you wanted to revive certain aspects of it, if you wanted to study, but nothing is static. It's always dynamic and morphing, because even within generations who are speaking Anguillan, they're not speaking it exactly the same way.
Mhm.
And we can't say the one of the younger generation is less Anguillan than the one of their grandmother or great grandmother.
I mean, I can say that. I think because, let me tell you,
Because
when-
we sound different from
Yes.
our grandmothers, even though we might be speaking Anguillan, but we sound different. I sound different from my grandmother, and my grandchildren different from me.
I think it's more authentic. Well, that's just my view. I just was with my grandmother this morning, and it's like the way she speaks, and that is the heart of Anguillanness for me. What we speak now, and a lot of our references because of the internet,
Yes.
and
Americans.
a lot of it is fused.
Yes.
I would actually say that perhaps the older generations they adhere more to speaking Anguillan dialect, and they do not presume that there are situations where they must switch to standard English.
Many of
feel
them may not know standard
Right.
English.
And that I think is something that is maybe generational. It could also be because of the media. It could be a proximity to tourism. Younger people are working in the forefront in the tourism industry.
They have to code switch.
Right. And so they may code switch, not because they want to, but because they realize, out of necessity, and then they start to develop two distinct ways of speaking, whereas older generations were not always working in hospitality, so they didn't need to do
not
that.
at all, actually.
Right. Well, there are some people from older generations that, when tourism started, but I would say that at that point you would see less of a that assimilation.
But I'm not sure that many of the old people, 70, 80, 90 years old, I'm not sure that they can speak proper English. They can maybe understand it. They'll understand. Well, that's true.
You mean standard.
Standard English, okay.
Right.
They might understand what the preacher is saying or what the lawyer is saying, but do they speak it?
No, they're not conversant in it.
No. They speak full Gwili.
Gwili.
Yes.
I love that. I love that so much. So, Vanessa, I want to follow on from something you said earlier about your studies. Should Anguillan dialect and oral history be taught more intentionally in our schools?
Absolutely. So in my classroom, I teach it very intentionally. I've been teaching for about almost 15 years, and I've always found that the best way to lay down the grammar system of Standard English is to first identify for my students the grammar system of the Anguillan dialect.
Lovely.
And it has a grammar system.
Yes, it does.
Once we identify that grammar system, it makes it a lot easier for them to make this distinction, because the big issue is that people assume they speak English because we speak a dialect that is close to English.
Right.
But it differs from Standard English. And so when you're trying to teach the syntax of Standard English, you run into these roadblocks because people don't realize, they're not given a map of the grammar system of dialect. So I always start with that. We do the grammar system of dialect, we identify it, and then we look at the differences.
Can you give me an example?
All right, so I'll give you the example that I most recently did. So in Standard English, we use does as a helping verb emphatically. So for example, Rita does like tea. In Standard English, it means that I'm trying to enforce, no, she likes tea. She does like tea. Whereas in Anguillan dialect, that is how we conjugate that verb. Rita does like tea. Rita does go to church.
Yeah.
Rita does get dressed.
I does go to church every Sunday.
Right. I does go to church, meaning I go to church.
Yes.
I attend church.
Yes.
Whereas in Standard English, you can say that. You can say Rita does go to church. She does. It's
but it's
emphatic.
It's for emphasis.
Right. So it is still, and that is the area where they run into situations when they're taking these standardized tests, because the standardized tests are designed to make sure you understand dialect versus Standard English, and they will put those constructs in there. And they'll put certain variations of subject-verb agreement in there that if you don't understand, you're not gonna understand the error, because in dialect this is fine. So that's something that I think is important, that we examine how verbs are conjugated in dialect. It's a lot closer to many African language systems in that, and actually some of the Nordic languages also use that same structure, where the verb itself is never pluralized. It's just the verb.
Yeah.
Eat, I eat, she eat, you eat, he eat, we eat, them eat.
Yeah.
It's just that. It's much simpler.
Certain things that I found out in my I write a lot of dialect book, dialect songs, dialect poems. And for example, ground, O-U-N-D, ground, sound, song. And another one, O-W-N, town, you're going tongue, down, right. Also, hard TH is pronounced D, like them, and do, for though, do. Whereas soft TH is T. So I go in theater, and I think so. And I thought that you was so. So I, in my books, hard TH is D, soft TH is T. Right, and and then another one, there was a girl from high school, I think you might know her. She went to Germany to study. She's from Jamaica, really, but she went to Germany to study.
Yes.
And she says she noticed that Anguillians drop the R sound, which I didn't realize. So we don't say door. We say, I'm going to do.
The do.
Right? We don't say church. We say, I'm going
Church.
church. Right. You don't say port. You say port. Going by port.
I going
Right.
port.
And I didn't realize that until she pointed it out to me
Yes.
because she came to me for some.
Right. That's actually what my thesis was on, was rhoticity in speech in the Anguillan dialect. So it was completely on that letter R and how we use
Drop
and
it.
don't use. Well, mine specifically was on whether or not we add it in proximity to a North American language variation. So basically looking at how are people that are working with tourists, are they using rhoticity in their speech, using that R, like words like corn instead of con? And
Okay.
versus people that have no proximity to
The old
tourists.
people say bite your tongue because
Right.
I
But
think
that
when we try to
actually-
code switch, we
That, what she's talking about, that feature, is also a feature of Irish and some Northern
we
England.
sung a lot like them actually.
Right. And so because of social media, more people are discovering and finally realizing, like, these are things that I would know and Miss Cardi would know because, you know, we teach language, but people are realizing that they sound like us, and that is all because of that triangular trade and that colonization period.
Okay.
But that lack of rhoticity in speech is very distinct in the north of England and in Ireland, as well as the voiced and unvoiced TH sound. Absolutely, like in Irish, when they're saying tutty for 30, just like we do.
Right. So I was going to say, a lot of the features that you described there are common for Creoles, not only Anguillan dialects.
Right.
Okay.
And I had another example for the non-pronunciation of the R, which is the ka. Right? Ka. Yes. So in other places you hear the car, you know, and like in St. Lucia they were like there and here, and they, you know, yes,
Right.
because that brings in the yod song now. when you
Right,
put
and
it
that's
in
from different islands too.
yodification.
Yep.
Right.
And but I wanted to, you mentioned grung earlier, so it's not only the sound, because now we're talking about sounds and phonemes, but that word grung in Anguilla has a specific meaning. So it's not just that we're pronouncing Ground
Right.
as that. That grung is your plot of land.
Yes.
That you
Yeah,
would
my
cultivate. I hear people using farm in Anguilla a lot.
No, yeah.
So that would be something new, because
Right.
you never
You used to say
spoke
you're going
about
to the
your
grung.
I got a
farm.
whole ground.
You're going, yeah,
I got a whole my ground.
Right. So
the
again,
stocks in my ground.
yes, and the stocks, right, and the ground. So the word ground then has a very specific meaning in Grilly that I don't think you would find.
That's true.
I would always say that, yeah, I got a whole ground with mommy.
You would do that?
Yeah, with my grandmother when I was really small.
Oh, not when you're big.
So you're still doing that though? Food sustainability?
No, we
have the plow.
I guess
Yes,
now
we
I'm
farm.
farming.
Oh,
So
okay.
my mom took me in her orchard this morning. She traveled.
Wow, that's
Okay.
fancy.
Orchard.
All right.
That feels fancy.
So you see how the language is changing.
Yes.
She didn't say that.
Exactly.
She didn't
But
say
they
that.
are using farm nowadays.
Right, but
Ah.
she said farming. She didn't say
Wow.
my grandmother. But I think it's a difference too. So holding ground was for necessity. We did a lot of sustainable farming back then, and holding ground was like a job. Farming is leisure. It's pleasure. Like for my mother, they're gardening.
It's like a
They don't
hobby.
think it's holding ground.
Right.
You know, but farming is a profession out here too. And for those farmers, they're farming.
Commercial.
But
Right.
for the backyard farmers who are doing it for
Subsistence.
Just for their own
Right.
household.
or even just leisure in the case of like flowers and stuff, they're farming. They make hole and ground. I guess hole and ground
Okay.
was a little bit more labor intensive. I don't
Yes,
know.
It was.
Well,
All
it
right, so
was.
I guess that's why we're saying then the language would
It's
change.
changing.
Yes,
because
right.
things
our-
have changed.
Our relationship with the environment is
But
changing.
that happens with
so,
any language
right,
because
right. So that's why it's not static.
Right.
It's not going to
we
remain
used
the
to
same.
say that we would look something up, and now we would
I
say
think
we're
the
going
only
to
thing
Google
might
it.
be
Right.
the only thing that
And-
might be constant is the accent.
Yeah.
Yeah,
A little bit. I
I'm not
find that
sure
it's
about the
changing.
accent.
I think it's changing because of the media, and I think that. But this is a phenomenon that's occurring all over the world. It's not distinct to Anguilla that areas are losing their distinct accent because the world has been united with the internet and with social media, and we are listening to so many people on the internet that there's now this whole phenomenon of the influencer accent, which is a whole different topic.
The last bastion gonna be Island Harbor. Shout out French side. Because that's where I grew up. And that takes me to my next question, actually.
Okay.
How does dialect differ from one village or community to another?
You can tell Island Harbor people.
Definitely.
Definitely.
Not me.
There's a little,
But-
there's a little something in West End too.
Yes, I
A
heard
little
the Wale.
something.
No,
Apparently,
I think-
back in the day, they would turn their
Yeah.
V's to W's.
Oh, that's common. That's common in Anguilla. Oh,
But
that's common.
that was like a
Vince,
whole
yeah, was
Anguilla.
Vince,
Yeah. You're going to Valley. Yeah.
But for some reason, that's how, well, at least in Island Harbor, my grandmother told me they would know
But remember, they're Irish.
somebody from West
Well, remember,
End
like, so
because of
they're
that VW.
They're Irish.
I don't know, like, because my father's people are from South Hill,
Mhm.
and my father's actual name, nobody knows him by that name, but that name, which I won't say because, my father is MBZ,
Okay.
but his actual government name has a W in it, but it is not pronounced like that. It's pronounced like a V.
Like a V. They did the reverse.
Right.
Yes.
And so, yeah, that's it. That's it.
I guess
And then like Wall Blake, it's
Yes.
the same situation
Yeah.
there. That
Yeah.
was Val Blake.
Blake.
Val Blake.
Yeah. Valentine.
Right.
Who said
Giving
that?
his
That
whole
that
name.
was Val Blake, but
Yes,
it
it
was
was.
Wow.
It was.
Wow.
Wild Blake, and then they made it one word.
Right.
So they fused it.
It was
as well.
Valentine Blake.
And this
Yes.
is a state.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Yes,
So,
it is.
Okay,
That's
so
why
the
it's so
T is
important that
definitely
these
spelling.
things.
Yeah.
I just feel like these are
In the
things
valley.
that
But there were
people
times.
need to know.
And then it
though.
showed
There were
you the
times when the
dynamism
V,
as well.
when the V also, when the V is also pronounced like a D. I'm a B. Because you said the devil, the
Oh.
devil, don't say the
Yes.
devil
That's
in
like,
me.
but that's
Don't
very
get
different.
it.
Devil.
Devil in
I
me.
find that that's
Devil.
that is they do that
Setting
in
the devil,
Spanish.
setting the devil in
No,
me,
we
you
do
know.
that in so broke, what they call broken Spanish.
Mm.
They do.
It's not broken.
Yeah,
be-
it's not broken.
But no, we had our. She's
Yes,
correct. We had
yes.
our
Yeah, the
own
double.
version of
Yes, sir. She's so,
turning the V into a B.
yes,
Mhm.
yes.
And
many
that,
times.
that example is the one, devil.
One example of the Anguillan accent.
Weeble too.
Weebles, yeah.
Yes,
Mhm.
Weeble is the pronunciation of the letter I. We make
Oi.
yes.
Oi.
We add a O.
Yes.
They
Oi.
say,
Oi.
right?
I
Oh,
struggled
yeah.
when I was training
Mhm.
for
The debates, yes.
Yes.
Oh.
So line is loin.
I had a
Loin.
meeting with the dame,
Oi.
the queen of enunciation, God rest her soul.
Yes.
And I did my presentation in front of her, usual, very confident. And I thought
You thought you nailed it.
she thought I nailed it too. She said, very dramatic, very, passionate and all of that. There are some enunciation issues. I was like, what are you talking about? I speak perfect English.
Oh, you do.
What do you mean? And for the most part, I did speak better English than, better standard English
Right.
And the island.
than the average
Right.
person my age,
Mhm.
I think. But she found the specific ones that she said just in her ear, it was like a loud noise.
Oi.
And she's like, Miss Rogers, can you pronounce the word Violenc? I said violence.
Violence.
Yeah. And that's more than that, eh? 'Cause that's a
Oh.
whole transposition
She's
of
like,
the Bible.
It's violence. I was like, huh? Violence? And then she said, what? Because it was a debate about crime, I think. And then she said, Bullet. I said, oh, bullet.
No,
Like
no,
guttural
no.
pronunciation.
Bullet.
Mhm.
Bullet, yeah.
So yeah, I didn't realize.
Right. Well, it goes back to
I
what we were saying. You don't know
I
you have
find
an
that
accent.
many Anguillians say violence, yes. They say they say V,
They
pronounce it
transpose
like
the vowel.
I don't
V-O-I
think it's a transposition.
instead of
I think
V-I-O.
it's the O insertion because every time
Violence.
a word has an interior I, an O is inserted. Moin.
Mine,
But
yeah.
like has
But it does
It
like
has
it's
both,
not. It
yeah.
just because violence is spelt that way, we're thinking, oh, maybe that's what it is, but it's not. It's because there's an I. The O is not necessarily pronounced anyway, so it's violence.
It's supposed to be violence.
It is, but there are other words like that
No,
though.
that's supposed to be-
I
it's supposed to be
remember hearing my like elder people in my community in Sandy Ground growing up.
Okay.
This was, of course, before digital photography, and my mom is a photographer.
Film.
Right, and they used to say film, film,
Yes.
film.
I
Hell,
could never.
Yeah.
I said,
Yes.
that's too Anguillan for me.
But that was one of the things that really stuck out to me as a child
Yeah.
because I was almost like, I used to be really hung up on it. I was always wondering,
They
are they
say film.
pronouncing the L or are they adding an I?
They are adding an I because it's called the simplification of consonant
Right.
clusters.
So, and I know this now.
saying
Film is
you know,
difficult.
it's
Film.
difficult, so you just make
Right.
it easy. Film.
And the same thing happens with
Helm.
axe,
Helm.
decks.
Des.
Like you're not
Des.
saying desks, you're saying desses.
Des.
What
Desks.
that's an unserious word, though.
Well,
This is?
Desks.
no,
Yeah, because
but
see,
that consonant cluster is
just
very
too hard.
difficult
You
in
said-
certain language variations.
You said deses and
Right.
tesses.
and it
Period.
just gets simplified. And
Yeah.
X instead of
Axe.
I
axe.
actually.
right.
X.
Now
But
that's
it's simplified,
transposition,
yeah.
AKS.
No, but it's simplification.
It is simplification.
Oh, we always say axe
Axe.
for ask.
Right, instead of ask.
I ask him. And you know another thing about
In America, that would
So
mean
they're
you
going
killed
to-
him. Like if you axe him,
Yeah,
like
I
did you
know,
just
I
come
know.
from
Did you-
murdering
Did
someone?
you? Is this a confession?
I know. But another aspect of Anguillan talk too is that we ask questions in sentence form.
Correct.
Intonation.
It's intonation.
You going St. Martin tomorrow?
Right. So it's
You don't say,
intonation.
are you going to St. Martin tomorrow? You
Instead
say,
of
you going
No,
to
but
Martin
other
tomorrow? You
languages
going
do
church?
that.
You going church Sunday?
They do that in
Which is
Mandarin.
a sentence, really.
So-
but you ask it in,
Right,
in a
Because
question.
your intonation.
You're
makes it
in, but that
interrogative.
also that
Mm-hmm.
feeds back to the simplification. It is much simpler for the language to maintain that standard structure. You going
Mm-hmm.
to Martin tomorrow? So it's a tonal language.
Yeah.
A lot of
Yeah.
Caribbean dialects are tonal languages. A lot of Asian languages are also tonal. Like the tone in which you pronounce a word completely changes the meaning of the word and the
That's true.
sentence.
That's true.
So here in Anguilla, if we're examining Anguillan dialect, a lot of it is based on that simplification. We are not conjugating all the verbs. It's just the verb is the verb. We're tacking on the pronouns, and that's it. It's simple. And the same thing with all questions. That your dog? That your mother? It's the same thing. That's your mother.
It wouldn't be only related to a dialect though, because in French, teaching French,
Right.
you have to teach that you can ask a question in three ways:
Yes.
the
Oh.
use of intonation, the use of
Or the
ester,
transposition.
or the
Yeah.
transposition.
Okay.
So it's
Okay.
others. But
But
you
it
know,
is a
another
language
thing about
feature.
Anguillan language is they ask very obvious questions. You're wearing red. So it's like, you know, it's not really a question.
What about
It's like you're going running, you're going jogging, you're jogging.
So is it distinctly Anguillan then
So
to
I
greet
guess-
somebody and talk about their body weight?
So it's
No, but I think that's a
you're
Caribbean
getting
thing.
fat.
No, but you're eating good.
Right, so it's not really a question because
It's like
obvious
maybe
what's
it's just a
happening.
conversation
So, do
maker.
you really want an answer whether I'm running,
Exclamation.
jogging or not?
But
Yeah.
what this conversation underscores for me is how important. So in my line of work, from time to time, I do criminal work, and one of the things that we have to insist on as dynamics are changing on the island, and we're seeing officers come from different places, but especially the ones that come from outside of the Caribbean, where, like you say, in the Caribbean, we share certain similarities. So an officer from another island might pick up on certain things. The ones
English.
from outside of the Caribbean sometimes have zero context for the things we say.
Right.
And they interpret them so wrong.
Wow.
And I've been in interview situations where officers literally thought something completely
Different
different,
to what was said.
from what the person was saying. And everybody else in the room who's Anguillan
Understood.
understood
They
it.
don't speak the language.
And I was like, that is why it is so important in areas like that we are policing each other.
I think
from
also
time to
if
time
we
you need
held the
support from
language-
outside, but
If we were to actually look at it and say, this is a language system, it is a dialect, but it has rules and it has a grammar system and it has a lexicon. If we were to appreciate it in that way, in an academic way, if we were to write it down, if we were to have books on this, it would be viewed like that, because those officers wouldn't go to Sweden and assume that they could speak Swedish.
True, too.
But because we speak an English-based dialect, it's just assumed that,
They
yeah,
assume
we're all
that
speaking English.
no, we're not.
Right. And that's why I think it's really important that
Okay.
from the schools come straight up, that we hold it in a high regard.
Okay, you teach younger people,
Yes.
right? I have a question for you. Are there words or phrases you think younger people are reviving in new ways?
Like distinctly Anguillan words.
Yes.
That's a
Reviving.
really good question.
I mean, we could come back to
I
it.
mean, I honestly don't think so.
Mhm.
Because there are obviously phrases that they will use that they're not revived though. These are things that have been in use all the time, but they are adding to it. I think that they are also taking that international internet language context and fusing it into the Anguillan dialect.
I mean, recently my daughter come home and this new thing they're doing is inting, and I like inting, and I was like, we had a version of that. But I totally get it in thing. So she just say something like, but you're wearing red, man, in thing. And
now-
we used to do that.
I guess,
And I'm like,
no, that's a different language variety. That's called slang, and they are short. They come.
They're making it even shorter.
Yeah.
but
You know,
that
so
was
they're
revived.
not like a, they're
Yeah.
not, it's not like a dialect that's pretty steady and firm. You know, even though it might be evolving, a slang is a short-lived phrase.
But that we
Yes,
used to
it
say
is.
that, and then we stopped, and then they're bringing it back like it's something fresh. And I like, what you mean? And we also used to say they like to be in things.
Yes.
And the
They,
two
I feel
things-
like they say that. I mean, I think when they're saying inting, I think they're saying like you're doing something that's stylish or in
Inting.
or
trendy.
right,
Yes.
trendy. But if you like to be in things,
Mhm.
that's different.
That's a
But we
little
used to
bit
do
different.
both. We used to use both.
I said something to my students the other day that they had no idea what I was talking about because we were it was coming off of Anguilla Day weekend and they were talking about all their big things they went and did. I was like, wow, okay. And I was like, so you went everywhere? They were like, yeah. I was like, any pan and knock.
Every
Yeah.
time
And they
that
had
knob.
no clue what I was
you were
talking
saying.
about.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I guess they're not saying that anymore then.
Well, every pan and knock is still being said.
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know if, I don't think people are
but
12
every
or 13.
generation.
Right.
Yeah, certain
Yeah.
generation. But a word that I was thinking about, and again, this is how people interact differently, not only with the environment, but with each other, that I don't think would be used anymore would be, well, a phrase, you're too fast on your
Oh, gosh,
business.
no, they
because
say
then
that.
people
Oh, we
want
They
it.
absolutely
that will never
just
go away.
say
Copy
that.
I find that people want it to be private, but now people want everything they do to be known.
No, they still say that.
I
Because
think that
one of
that's
my
changing.
One of my
That's-
students was by the window looking out the other day, and one of the other ones told him, "Move from there, you're too fast."
You're too fast.
Yeah.
You
So
fast.
I
Yeah.
thought with this social media culture
Mhm.
where everything you do
No,
has to be
actually-
posted and shared that you too
I
fast.
find the
No,
younger
we-
generations
we-
are
we-
not
we
sharing.
They're not sharing?
No, they have an Instagram with no photos.
Yeah.
They don't share the
Oh,
most.
so that has already changed.
right.
Yes.
The most
Okay,
they're
good.
sharing would be like
And then
Snapchat.
and if they do have like 3, they delete all the old
Right.
ones, that type of thing.
Correct, and they will have they'll share
The
snaps.
sharing is a millennial thing.
Absolutely,
Definitely,
Absolutely.
we share everything.
absolutely.
I was on
And,
radio.
Yeah,
I guess
definitely
maybe you
not
should
them.
describe this.
I was on
these
radio this
generations
morning.
so that your viewers would understand.
I was on radio this morning, and one of the books that I took to the studio was my mouth speeches dictionary.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
And Pastor Philip was asking the rest of the panel, including Pastor Hodge, well, he would know, he just took a word from the dictionary. And many, they didn't know. Some of them didn't know. They never heard that word. Some they knew, because at the back of the dictionary, I have body language. And certain things, if your eye jump in or things like that, but certain things are being lost. My children don't know. My grandchildren, many words in that dictionary. they've never, they
So
don't know.
fasting going nowhere because that's
Yeah.
Too fast.
actually part of our identity.
Yeah, you're too fast.
Sure.
And
Good to know.
it is.
I haven't heard it in a long
People
time.
say we even call Facebook Facebook.
Oh,
But
yeah?
that's the older generation,
Yeah.
as in millennials.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
young
yeah.
people are not even on Facebook.
Yeah, no, they're not on Facebook.
Not anymore.
But they would
They're
also
not on
call it
Facebook.
Facebook, and that's
They're not.
that's
They say
why
that's
they're
for
not.
old people.
Because
Oh.
Facebook is a very opinionated space.
Right.
People will put a whole
Yeah.
think piece.
They'll write like an entire
Facebook.
essay on there.
Yeah.
It's everybody's got a thought.
According to
on
my
Facebook.
daughter, it's overstimulating.
Oh, no, my students would most certainly not be caught dead on Facebook. That's
Yeah.
for old people.
Apparently.
That's what they
I
say.
stay there because of the networking.
I hope they put this on something other than Facebook so that they could see it. Because they won't be on there.
Now, I teach. Have you ever felt pressure to change the way you speak in any situation?
For me, I grew up in 50s and 60s, I was taught to speak properly at all times, right? So in church, radio, always speak properly. So for me, it's strange that I'm writing in dialect, but I seldom speak dialect. I seldom speak dialect. I can't think of a situation where I was pressured to speak because automatically I just speak properly.
Right.
In most situations, I speak properly. So
Meaning you speak the standard.
I speak, but in the old time, there's called it proper English.
Yes, I know they did,
Of
but
course.
then, yeah, as we teach
But
now,
it's
each
discriminatory.
language variety is appropriate in its own context.
In its own context, yes.
Right? You have different
Absolutely.
levels
Yes.
of formality as well. So, you wouldn't be at home speaking very properly,
I feel like in my house we have the opposite because at home my children speak standard American English and they speak that to me. But when I hear them with their friends, they speak dialect.
They speak dialect.
And
But
so
the
we
level
kind of
of
have like
formality would be different.
no,
though.
like we
Very
speak,
formal.
well, we're not over here
Okay.
like using the Queen's English.
Yes.
But I mean to say that my children speak American English at home and they
And then-
speak American English to me. And but if I hear them with their friends, they
have
speak
switched.
dialect. And I find that like what Teacher Patsy's saying, that might be like a flip. Like, your home language might be your dialect and then when you're out and frontward
Yeah.
facing, you're speaking standard. But I think that almost goes to just the variation of language that I speak, and that's like the first variation that my kids learn before they enter the school system and they started making friends in the community. And because we live in Anguilla, so obviously you're going to be exposed and speak dialect in Anguilla. And but my little one, she doesn't speak dialect. Like there are certain things. She was taught a poem by her teacher, and when she says it, she sounds like she's speaking dialect, and it's so adorable to me because she's mirroring how she was taught the poem. Like her teacher read the poem to her, and she learned the poem. So when she reads this one poem, this little thing that she had to recite, she sounds like she's speaking dialect, but at no other time she sounds like that because she's
So
still
it's the
young.
accent that she's mimicking, but the words are
Right, like the
standard English.
pronunciation. Right. So but the pronunciation of the word, she's not pronouncing the R. She's not pronouncing the soft TH. Like, and it was just so quaint to
But
me.
the thing about it is that as a writer, one of my first poems, I think it was Bob Greene, one of my first poems is Ain't Want the Gooch No More.
Yes, I
And
remember.
people just love they love the dialect poems far more than the standard poems,
Right.
Ain't Want the Gooch No More or Peas So Boiling, Light Up the Fire, So for me, my dialect work is more accepted than the standard English.
Yeah, because it stands out and it's
And more people can speak that.
People probably enjoy seeing
it's a form
their
of
language
rebellion,
form
yeah.
as art.
Okay.
Against this concept that we have to speak standard English and that's the only proper way
Right.
to speak because that's what we were.
But it's an
But then-
erasure.
but then
it is an
it-
erasure. That mindset is an erasure. And I think that it is important, going back to our very first thing we talked about, is cultural identity directly tied to language. Obviously, that is the first representation you have of where you're from,
Yes.
is your language.
When you
And
open your mouth, yes.
absolutely. And so when you see people trying to restrain that in their children, they don't want to hear them speaking in dialect, they don't want this, they think it's wrong, they think it's bad. And I encounter that a lot with parents. I've had, throughout my career as a teacher, I've had parents always be like, oh, I'm so happy that you speak standard English, so my son will start speaking standard English, he'll speak better because you're teaching him. And I always tell them, like, that's absolutely not a representation of my skill as a teacher. Of course, I think I'm a great English teacher, but because I speak standard English, it does not mean that the quality of my English lesson is going to be higher than someone that is not delivering their lesson in standard English. And that is something I think as a people that we need to respect our language
I
variety.
mean, we go to school to learn standard English. So it's actually
Yes.
a pet peeve for me when teachers
Yeah.
don't use standard
Well,
English.
obviously they should, but I mean that to me, I think some people automatically judge your intelligence based on
Yes.
that.
Yes, that is what
and
I
there
was
are
gonna say.
many people that only speak dialect that are quite smart. They
That's
have
true.
a lot of knowledge.
That's true. That's true. But when you're dealing with children
Right.
who are learning,
Absolutely.
because standard English is almost like another language.
Yes,
It is.
They
Yeah.
need to hear it.
Right. They do.
And they need to hear it in the appropriate spaces, I could tell them what I want when I'm home. But I expect when they're in the classroom that they're hearing standard English.
Of course.
Right. So I think we're appreciating how complex the discussion around language is, because what is language for? Right here we are discussing how language is for identifying who you are. But for some people, language is for how you get along in the world, because you're supposed to be able to represent yourself in the language that has the most prestige. Because that will open the doors for you. Because although there are different language varieties, they don't have the same value outside of the community. So, you know, within the community, that's the sense of belonging. That's the connection. Outside of the community, you're isolated because nobody understands. And you just explained that in the
But they're saying
case
that,
and that's a dangerous case as well. So, you know, so if you're not speaking to be understood clearly, you would be treated differently, and that's
people will make an assumption.
So the parent would be thinking along those ways. I want my child to be able to be in certain spaces and be respected in those spaces, and they wouldn't be if they only spoke dialect. But they have to, at the same time, appreciate the dialect as how we are speaking about it here. That important thing that makes us us, that we should respect and document and make sure that it has its place in the world, either for reference now and for reference later when it has changed. We can go back and see what it is. Because if we just have an oral tradition, in 50 years, it will be gone.
Just like wall Blake.
Yes,
because
that somebody had to write that down
like
for us
I
to
didn't,
know this.
but I didn't have it written down. I think my dad told me that.
Okay.
And then I heard it from a couple other people, and I was like, okay, this is legitimate. And then that's something that I would teach my students when we're talking about social studies. But
So-
it's not. I've not seen it written.
I have another question, and this is probably my last before I get into. I have this, and then one other thing I want us to do just to wrap.
Okay.
But how you spoke about poetry? You're a poet. All of you.
We're actually all poets.
You're all.
Yeah.
How does poetry, music, creative writing help preserve identity?
Ooh, I think that it is essential. Stories are how everything is passed down, and entertainment is the best way to capture all levels of people, from the very highest educated down to the simple person on the street. Something that's entertaining and can reach them, like a story, is always the best way to capture that. And so for me, I do, similar to Teacher Patsy, a lot of my poetry is either written in dialect or heavily based on that dichotomy of self that I guess that I've experienced. And I think that those types of pieces, like what Teacher Patsy writes, those are very important, because we need to see that language written down. So because there is no standardized spelling of these words, and there is no standardized way that it should look. And the more we see that, the more it's going to preserve that culture and identity for us in Anguilla.
Writing dialect can be hard, but I think we have to try to stay as close as possible to the proper
standard.
The standard.
Like, for
the
example,
standard.
some people write your, Y-U-H. Now, I usually put your, Y-U-R, because the proper spelling is Y-O-U-R. Okay? So I put Y-U-R. You just drop the O.
I always see Y-U-H-1.
So do I.
Use Y-U-H.
Yeah. I do see that more too, but that's probably because it's phonetic.
But I think, you know, you do, I guess you have a reason and a pattern for doing it that way. But if it was properly documented,
it would probably be
then,
Y-U-H.
yes, right.
Yeah.
And then, you know, whatever it is, it becomes standardized because there is a reference, right? And I don't happen to write poems in dialect, but I would say that to answer your question, we would have to think about to whom stories are most told. And that would be those very impressionable young people. So that would definitely be a way of preserving, because then that those formative years are when you hold on to things. So preservation would occur there. But the matter of respecting and codifying and documenting is very important.
Okay, so Vanessa is going to take on the task of doing
Well,
that
I did start doing a lot of that. I got a bit waylaid by other projects because it's a passion project of mine. And DYC has helped me with a lot of my data collection, but I am working on something like that, because it is very important to me that our language is
preserved.
Absolutely.
But I have a dictionary called Mouth Speeches.
Yes.
Right.
Right. And I'm in the process of doing the second edition.
Nice.
Because so many people give me so
Oh,
many
that's so good.
words afterwards.
That's great.
So many words after the first edition. So I'm working on that one.
Now that we're on the topic of words, I'm going to segue into this, and this is my wrap question.
Okay.
Tell me a word that only Anguillians would understand.
I'm going first because I don't want anybody to take the word.
No,
But I also wanted to say
Oh, I
too
hope you're
that
not
there
gonna
is
use
also
mine.
mouth speeches is phrases, but there's also like the dictionary by Ijania, 1993,
Yes.
with specific words.
know
Yes,
that.
I
But
have
I
it
have-
right
I
over
have
there. You can
words.
show you. But the
Okay.
word that I want to say
Okay.
is struck.
Oh, good. That's not my word.
That's a good one.
That's a great one.
Because I mean,
Yes, that's a good one. That's a good one. That is a great one.
Struck.
I love
so
it.
struck means greedy. Okay, for those who don't know.
Yes,
Okay?
I love it.
Me, with my dictionary, Sature. Sature. Anybody knows what the meaning of sature?
I've never heard this word
Sage?
before.
So you take all of Anguillian class one time.
Apparently, I'm
Because
actually
the
not.
question
Actually not
was,
cool.
you had a word that only Anguillians would understand.
Sature.
So what word is this?
Sage.
What does it mean?
Sage.
That's only Anguillians, boomers would understand.
No, sature's an old-time word. I get it from my grandmother. You always saturing, meaning searching intensely. To sature something is to search intensely.
I've never heard that word.
Yeah,
All right,
and,
so we
and
just
another
learned a
one
word.
is eyeing.
Yeah, we know.
Aye.
I'm not. Yeah. Aye.
But same them other places say mina,
Yeah.
right?
Aye.
They say mina.
Aye.
But
Aye.
Anguillians
Aye
say,
going there,
"Aye
aye."
doing- I ain't doing that.
I ain't doing
But
that.
they can say mina do that.
So Ein is only Anguillians would
I
understand that.
say
so,
yeah. I,
Okay.
I, and sature.
You.
All right, mine is not one word,
Okay.
but it's just two. But they have to be used together because it's a word and it's a preposition, and that is duffalo. And that is
I'm
my
from standing ground. You would
Yes.
use that.
that is my favorite.
Okay.
I mean, you don't really get duffalo up in Sandy Ground.
Okay.
That's why it's a good beach.
Okay.
But duffalo,
Duffalo.
it's Meads Bay. You will get duffalo.
Yeah, you would,
Certain
yes.
times a year, you're gonna get duffalo up at Meads Bay.
Yes.
Oh.
And that is something that for me is like one of the most distinctly Anguillan things because there isn't a way to articulate that in standard English
Yeah.
without this massive dialogue.
Expedition.
Yeah.
Right. All you have to say in Anguilla, what happened to you, girl? I get duffel up. I already
That's
know
it.
what happened. I
Yeah.
know what
I only
happened.
mean that.
But in standard English, it would take so many words to explain that. And
So this is
that's
a new
fine.
one, and it came out to
I
a
don't think I have got my
viral
dictionary.
You don't
thing.
have duffel
I
up?
don't think so.
You gotta add it to the new
Hold on.
one.
Vanessa said she thinks she could guess what I was
Oh,
gonna say.
I know what it is.
But this came out to a viral thing. But
Using some
as
tea.
an Anguillan, as she said it, I immediately knew what it meant. But I've never heard it before that video.
Okay.
And now Anguillians kind of use it. Lominius.
That's a new word. Yes, we have that word now.
Definitely
Yes,
add that one to the
it's a good
dictionary.
one.
It's my favorite.
I knew it
And
was
children
that.
use it too.
I just love it.
That is a
Lominius.
good. That is a good addition.
And you know
I
what?
know the art of the source of that
Yes.
word. So
I knew that was her word.
Lominius.
But my favorite part of that word is the reason why everybody knows exactly what it means is because
You know
right,
Adjective,
it has
the adjectival
us.
part.
You are creating an adjective
Yes.
by adding us.
Us
That is
or
something
US.
gorgeous,
Yes.
dangerous.
Yes.
Lominius.
Yes.
Right. And that's why I'm working on this grammar book about Anguillan dialect because that's a feature right there. Like we're recognizing that. We don't even know we're recognizing that, but it's because of that morpheme on that
Adjective.
word.
But do you know?
We know.
But do you know what low means? In
Yeah,
Yeah.
low by
And
itself
she was
is a
basically
word.
Right.
telling
So
us
that's
about
what she was
that.
doing
You
in
know,
the
you
video.
know, you know
And
what
you
is-
mean
and
together.
Right.
Okay.
So that's
Then make it
why
an
she
adjective.
made that. It's like a portmanteau almost. Yeah.
Lominius.
Yeah.
Oh, what?
A portmanteau.
I don't know what that means, but I know what
That
Lominius means.
portmanteau is when you take two words and you make one word.
Like
I
a
love
mashup.
that.
Yes.
Yeah, you're making like a mashup, a portmanteau.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, guys, we had a very riveting discussion on the dialect, and this is just one part of the Tea Chronicles, looking at our identity and examining our identity as Anguillians. And I think starting with the dialect, the way we speak, the way we tell stories, and how we connect using our dialect is such an important thing. So, We've wrapped. It's been an amazing discussion. Thank you guys so much for
Thank you.
coming.
Thank you.
Yes.
And I just want to close up by saying, from the rock to the wall, that's the tea. See you for the next chronicle.
There is an island in the Caribbean Sea.